WCW Monday Nitro, February 19th of the year 2001. Yes, Brian, counting the show, 6 episodes to go.
Thank God.
The worst pay-per-view recap I think I've ever seen open the show.
It was bad.
I went over it 3 times and still typing as fast as I could. I'm sure I missed stuff. Here is what my notes actually read. Super Brawl recap. Cruiserweights did stuff. O'Hare and Palumbo still tag champs. Mike Awesome in disguise attacked Brian Adams. Dustin and Rickety stiff match. Cat beat Lance. Nash slammed Madeja. Paige beat Jarrett. Nash faked a broken leg. 1. Steiner out of WCW forever. Flair makes it 2 out of 3. Steiner wins. At this point, Tony Schiavone says, "Oh, this sucks." So there's 90 seconds of this. It's a blur. It's a 5-minute video package done in a minute and a half. And then we get 20 seconds of Kevin Nash walking alone down the hallway and 20 more seconds of Kevin Nash putting his bag in his car, opening the door, and driving away. We're 2 minutes into the show, maybe 3, and it's already horribly put together.
All I know is this opened with them telling me that Kevin Nash had been forced into retirement at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Okay. Did we not watch the Go Home show?
Yeah, we did.
Was there any mention?
No.
I can explain it to you. I will explain it to you.
All right.
Okay. But as only a Nitro viewer, when they opened the show saying that Nash had been forced into retirement, I just couldn't believe my ears. Where in the fuck did that come from? And then I believe it was your main man, Scott Hudson. Mm-hmm. He screams at the end of the show, "He's meant too much for this company." Kevin Nash. And the funny thing was, I don't know who he was talking to, but the exact line was, "He's meant too much to this company, Kevin." There is no Kevin on commentary. So...
in the headset, maybe?
That was bizarre.
I believe, based on this horrendous video package, sorry, I very well may be wrong, but I believe the loser must retire stip was literally added in the pre-match.
Oh, it was. Now, were you aware that the pay-per-view was actually called Super Brawl Revenge?
Yes.
You were?
Yes.
Wow.
I may not have been, if you asked me off the top of my head, but when they aired the graphic that read Super Brawl Revenge, I realized that's what they had been calling it.
I did not know that. Yeah. So anyway, if you missed Super Brawl Revenge, okay, do you know the dark match was, of all things?
You have no idea how little I care about the dark match.
No, it's funny for 1,000 reasons, okay? First off, the guy who won was Chris Harris.
Oh, how about that?
Future TNA superstar, Chris Harris.
Braden Walker to be, yes.
Yes. The man he defeated...
James Storm.
Kid Romeo.
No.
Who the next night, they did a video package saying he's coming soon.
Yes. Okay.
I knew you'd be interested.
You got me.
Maybe we should have headlined with his show.
That is interesting, Brian.
Okay, so very quickly, Shane Helms won a 6-man elimination match that I didn't know was on the show. Hugh Morris defeated The Wall. Who the fuck cares? Sean O'Hare and Chuck Palumbo beat Jindrak and Stasiak. I couldn't even tell you what combination of those 4 men is normally a team and who isn't. Chavo Guerrero beat Rey Mysterio Jr. to retain the Cruiserweight title.
After all that?
Yes. Rick Steiner beat Dustin Rhodes for the U.S. title. After that great match they had last week and the great performances by Dustin. Totally Buffed beat Brian Adams in a handicap match. And no, I don't care why. Ernest Miller defeated Lance Storm to win the commissionership back. So, for you Nitro viewers, we never saw Lance as commissioner for 1 second.
Nope, not a single segment.
Chris Kanyon beat Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh, we did.
Diamond Dallas Page beat Jeff Jarrett.
What?
I have no idea.
Right.
And Scott Steiner beat Kevin Nash in a loser leaves WCW match. 2 out of 3 falls.
Oh, gosh.
2-1.
Yeah.
Because I guess the story was Flair said it was loser leaves town. Nash beat Steiner. Then Flair added 2 out of 3 falls.
I see.
And then Steiner won.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the pay-per-view.
So the actual episode of Nitro opens up with another funeral angle.
Oh, and yeah.
Even the announcer's like, yes, we just did one of these a month ago. So they all come out. There's a casket in the ring. They're all dressed in black. They're sarcastically mourning and then gloating about their big win. The crowd sweetening for this segment was out of control. It was absurd. So they put up all of Steiner's victims on the screen, all the men who are no longer in WCW because of him. Sting, Booker T, Goldberg, Sid Vicious, and Kevin Nash. All gone. The next pay-per-view is Greed, and Steiner notes he only has one enemy left. I won't tell you who it is, I'll show you. And he opens the casket, and two hands pop up in the diamond cutter symbol, and then Op Pups Canyon in the wig doing the Page gimmick. And everyone has a big laugh. And they had this idea for this reveal. Steiner keeps on talking, and then Canyon realizes, what do I do now? Mm-hmm. And he's looking at Luger, and Luger's looking at him, and they're talking, and Canyon's like, do I lay down? And Luger shrugs, and they both just start laughing. Yeah, this is what I have to talk about here on this Nitro.
What I got to talk about here is, so they set up some matches. I mean, I don't know why, but it's Scott Steiner versus DDP.
Agreed.
At Greed.
Yes. The last, I guess that is the last.
It is. It's the final pay-per-view. The final pay-per-view in the history of World Championship Wrestling. It's called Greed.
Amazing.
Okay.
Please tell me WWF has the rights to that name.
So as happy as I am that in 6 weeks it's all over forever, I am sad that we never got WCW Gluttony.
Just a bunch of overweight guys on the show.
WCW Sloth.
I've done both of those.
WCW Lust.
Ooh.
Their June pay-per-view.
Not as often.
I mean, Jesus Christ almighty. Sin and Greed were the first two shows of whatever this year was, 2001. So yeah, this sucked.
Avarice
but Flair did a fine. Flair did so much of a better job doing Eulogy than Seth Rollins did.
Oh God, yes.
Doing his fucking Sermon on the Mount last
Whatever
night.
that was.
Jesus Christ.
So there's a bunch of matches booked, and then Page comes out in the crowd to accept Steiner's challenge. For some reason, this made Steiner angry. I guess just because he's Scott Steiner, and everything makes him angry. And that was the end.
Whoop-de-doo.
Miss Jones congratulates the cat on being commissioner again. He thanks her for the kick to Mike Sanders. Also thanks the fans, or I guess Lance, whatever. Also thanks the fans out there, he says. He announces a new division in WCW, a Cruiserweight Tag Team Division. This is going to be an 8-team tournament starting next week. And later in the show, he's going to whip Buff Bagwell and then call his mama.
It's good timing. They just broke up a bunch of their tag.
Yes, fantastic. In fact, there was one broken up in this next segment.
Yes.
Shannon Moore and Jamie Noble, they did a bunch of moves. There was no flow or story or change in pace or momentum here, but they did a bunch of cool moves. Evan tried to interfere and then failed. He tried to interfere on behalf of Jamie Noble. He failed. Then he turned on Jamie Noble and DDT'd him on the apron. And yeah.
I think what actually happened was Noble accidentally drop-kicked Shannon into Evan. So Evan got mad about that and attacked Noble, who is his partner.
Well, he's not anymore.
Well, it's stupid one way or the other.
Because Shannon won with a fame asser, which he calls the bottoms up.
Yeah.
So, and then Shannon and Evan reunited, and they stomped a mud hole in Jamie, and that's the end of that.
And they started dancing again.
They did.
So they are toucan again. So the other day on Observer Live, somebody asked me if AEW needed a cruiserweight division, and I violently disagreed with this idea. And the funny thing is,
who wouldn't be in it?
My whole argument for why they don't need one, I mean, 19 years ago, these two poor fuckers, it was already over for the cruiserweights. Like, they came out here and they did a bunch of moves in a company where Hugh fucking Morris does giant moonsaults, and Rey Mysterio is in the heavyweight division. And it's like, there's literally nothing these cruiserweights can do. I guess Rey just did get it. No, what did he get? Was it a cruiserweight? Who's Chavo? The cruiserweight champion?
Chavo's the cruiserweight
I guess he got a cruiserweight title match. But anyway, there's nothing these cruiserweights can do that is any more special than anybody's doing on the heavyweight roster. You know what I'm saying? What are they doing that's any different? Nothing. They're just small and doing it.
Yeah.
So what's the point? And that's what the fans thought when they watched this match. Wow, a guy did a flip. Fat guy did it last week. Then laughed.
Conan and Kidman had a chat about Chavo and Road Warrior Animal. I guess Animal had attacked Kidman at the pay-per-view at some point. They challenged them to a match, not 1980s Animal style, but filthy Animal style. So what happened, Brian, with Chronic and why Brian
Please.
Adams wrestled handicap. Somebody abducted Brian Clark and locked him in a room, and Mike Awesome came out disguised as Brian Clark and attacked Brian Adams, leading to Totally Buffed getting the win.
This fooled me.
Why didn't Mike Awesome just run and attack the guy?
Because that wouldn't be clever.
Oh, my God. I got it.
So Mike Awesome comes out to new horrible music. He's supposed to...
Oh, my God. He's no longer the 70s guy, so they just gave him non-70s
You
music.
guys give him Lance's music?
That's right.
It is beyond atrocious. I don't even know what it was. And it started like it was going to be the Team Canada music, but then turned into this.
So he's supposed to wrestle Brian Clark. A minute in, Elix Skipper runs out and attacks. It's not a DQ. Seconds later, Lance Storm attacks. It is a DQ. Brian Adams makes the save, and Elix and Awesome take the high times double chokeslam. Lance escapes. That's the end of the segment.
I was so bored.
Yeah.
I had nothing to say.
The Cat orders security to keep Lance at ringside. He's got an idea. So we go to break. We come back during Cat mid-promo. He couldn't even wait to come out until after the commercial.
The
was
best
done.
part of this promo is
I'd love to hear this.
we watched Nitro last week, okay? That's 7 days ago. Last week, in the middle of the show, Lance became commissioner, okay? So it wasn't even the full show. This week, he's already not the commissioner. And the whole point of Shat's promo is, Lance, when you were commissioner, you did so many horrible things.
He did say that.
Like, I never saw him as commissioner for 1 second. What could he have possibly done on Thunder? You know what I'm saying?
He could have done something on the pay-per-view, but still.
So he signs Lance versus Hugh Morris for later. The look on Lance's face is the same fucking look I had when Hugh Morris is laughing on the big screen. And then Scott Hudson says, and this is a direct quote, Lance Storm and General Erection had a match that was supposed to be the last battle, but apparently not.
It's amazing.
Well,
Cool.
to be fair, this isn't General
Great.
Erection. This is Hugh Morris.
That was the excuse that they used.
Yes.
But that's shit.
Right.
I like when Kat says if Elix or Mike Awesome interfere in this match, they'll be fired and making pancakes back in Canada, Saskatchewan.
Huh.
Yeah,
Apparently, that's where they come from.
I guess so. The announcers are running down the show. And then, yes, Brian, a Kid Romeo hype video.
This was so weird. It looked like a video out of like early 90s WCW where there's like that weird neon and there's a horrible green screen
Yes.
and it's just it's so old it's blue screen. So he's there and he's shirtless and he's flexing
As one does.
and for some reason
Tell me about it.
the man who Tony says afterwards is Kid Romeo, Latin sensation, this heartthrob. In the video, every time a woman like glances at him, he violently shushes them away. Go away!
Brian, his abs are so great and his car is so cool, he has to chase the woman away.
That's a weird Romeo gimmick.
That's a good point.
That is my whole fucking point.
I mean, it's a strange use of the name Romeo.
Maybe he's already given his heart to a Juliet.
I may have. I mean,
Apparently-
he may be a monogamous fella.
It wasn't an 8-year-old video, but it was a 1-year-old video, apparently. 'cause-
It's just left on the shelf.
well, they wanted him to debut, and they just kept holding it off. Because there was so many more important things to do.
Sure.
Chavo Guerrero and Road Warrior Animal versus the Filthy Animals.
Okay, let me just take this on, because I didn't care, but I just was furious. Chavo comes out for the match, but they cut backstage, and Conan and Animal are brawling. They're brawling in the back. So they cut to the ring, and Chavo's in the ring, watching the brawl on the screen. He begins to yell at the video screen. Then Kidman comes out, and he attacks him.
Right.
At which point I wrote, I think Kidman and Conan versus Chavo and Animal, but not sure.
Okay.
So then Kidman and Chavo are brawling in the ring, and the announcers say, this match hasn't even started yet.
They said this about 5 seconds after a bell rang to start the match.
The bell must have been the referee, the ref ringing the bell to try to get some help.
Okay.
So the announcers say, we're going to go to break, When we come back, we're going to try and get this match in the ring. They go to break. They come back, and now there are referees attempting to separate Kidman and Chavo. Okay? Now, the funniest part is, it's a bunch of grown men can't tear these two small men apart. Okay. So they're trying to tear them apart, and finally they just give up. And in the middle of, keep in mind, this is supposed to be a brawl, the security's breaking up. They start doing high spots in this brawl. Like, what in the fuck is happening here? Then, the other two geeks, whoever they are, Animal and Conan, they brawl back down to the ring, and then they jump up on the apron, and they calmly stand there, and the match starts, and they wait for tags.
A tag team match broke out in the middle of the street fight.
I was so angry. And then it's just like a match. It's not good. It's not bad. I'm so bored until all of a sudden, Conan and, was it Chavo?
It was Chavo.
Yes.
Conan and Chavo. They're going to do an X Factor.
Yes.
Okay. I could do this with Rob.
Yeah.
I hold Rob's head or vice versa. I jump and I sit on my ass. And then he falls on his face.
Right.
I'll bet you anything I could stand up right now and do that move with Rob here in this room. No, I'm not going to, but I know I could.
We have cameras.
And you know this. These two long-time professionals,
Yes.
they just fell down.
That's charitable.
Conan didn't jump. Chavo didn't bump. They just stood there. Conan grabbed his hair, and they both just crumpled.
See,
It's like they were made of sand,
Here's-
and they just suddenly went... "Bleh."
here's why you're being too kind.
Yes.
They didn't even do it at the same time.
Right.
Chavo collapses.
A mistimed.
Conan watches him fall and says, well, I shouldn't be standing. And then he goes down.
Puny Christmas. It's so bad. And the crowd starts to boo.
As they should.
And then Conan, of all people, seems to think, I gotta turn this match around. So he goes on the apron and does a flying fucking flip dive off the apron. I don't think in all the years I watched WCW, so that's 6 years now that we watched the Monday Night Wars, I don't think I ever saw him do a running flip dive off the apron.
I don't think I've ever seen him do Chris Jericho's springboard dropkick.
He did that as well.
But he
Silver
did
King
that
Dropkick,
too.
yes.
He pulls this out of his ass, flip dive off the apron, and then Ray hits the ring,
Yeah.
dressed like a French painter.
Okay.
He's got a beret on. Like, what is he wearing? He's got like a smock.
I gotta look this back up now.
Oh, dude, look at it. He leaps off the top with a leg drop to the balls. Kidman hits the Kid Crusher and gets the pin. Now, they don't tell us what happened with Chavo and Ray last night that allowed Chavo to win, but we are told that Ray got, and I quote, a measure of revenge. Are you looking at this?
I haven't found that yet. I'm looking down the network. It has, recently added every pay-per-view ever, Charlotte Flair's Golden Opportunities, and then here's a playlist they've added, Brian. Tanks for the Memories. A list of wrestling events that included tanks. DX invades WCW. Rusev does his entrance against John Cena.
How in God's name did
Shotzi
the network
Blackheart.
fall below 1 million domestic subscribers for the first time since 2015 with that kind of fucking
A
playlist?
Tank Abbott versus Disco Inferno match.
Aha.
Rusev
That actually
discusses
sounds awesome.
NXT, the U.S. title, in his tank. On the top 50 superstars of all time, number 42, Sergeant Slaughter, etc., etc. Tank and 3 count celebrate. Anyway,
Is all of Nitro in there? Is a television show and promotion that tanked?
Yeah.
Patton and the Golden Terror versus Bravo and Danucci from All Star Wrestling. Truth Commission will be in action next week. If you want, Brian.
They got a tank for All-Star Wrestling?
Apparently. If you want,
That's
Brian,
the most amazing thing I've heard all night.
you can go to the WWE Network, go to the Tanks of the Memories list, and watch a 31-second video announcing the Truth Commission will be in action next week.
Wow.
What the hell was I coming here to look for in the first place?
Rey Mysterio.
Ray
right,
in
yeah.
his French painter's outfit.
Right. I'll start looking that up.
I'll be happy to move on.
Before you do, I just want to add one detail. So I mentioned Animal had taken out Kidman at the pay-per-view. The announcers here explained that Chavo had paid Animal off. Did any of you catch Animal's fee for taking out Kidman at the pay-per-view?
No.
$100.
You know what's funny? Is I thought you were going to say $100,000,
No.
which is beyond ridiculous. And to be honest, $100 is less ridiculous than them claiming $100,000.
It probably is. But it's like, did the Harrises do something for a sandwich a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it was a sandwich and a drink, and they actually did it.
They did it, yes.
All right, so we got...
Carry on. I'll try to find this picture.
Yeah, I remember that because they offered to do it for a sandwich and a drink. So I thought for sure they wouldn't like screw him or whatever.
Not that it matters, but
Then they did it.
Animal pinned Kidman with a power bomb.
Yes,
Should mention that.
after the fact.
Go ahead, Brian.
So Buff faces Shat, and Shat. Am I wrong?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. When you load up Nitro, it has
Look
all
at
the,
this guy.
It has all the jump
Stealing
to
my gimmick.
Has all the jump. I am. Has all the jump to things at the bottom. Shannon Moore versus Jamie Noble. The cat puts Lance Storm in a match. And then my favorite, an enthralling look at Kid Romeo.
Wow. Well, it was definitely enthralling. I can tell you
There
that
we go.
much.
Oh, Lash the Rick Steiner. All right. Filthy Animals is Chavo Guerrero and Animal. I'm clicking that.
It doesn't have French painter runs in.
does not have that.
Oh, that's too bad.
Now it won't even.
Oh, the network doesn't work again.
Well, it's got a thing and it highlights when I scroll over it. I want to watch the segment and it won't load.
Classic.
Cool. Oh, there it goes. All right. We're good.
Shall I just wait here?
No, go ahead, Brian.
Sitting in silence.
So Shat cuts a promo, and he says, Buff, I know you love your mother. I love my mother too. Therefore, I know that we both have good hearts. I want you to come over to the good side, he says. And so Buff attacks him.
So that's a no.
It's essentially how it went down, yes.
So Miss Jones takes the ref. Canyon holds Shat. Buff hits a DDT. Blockbuster pin. I wrote, this was just there. And then Canyon hits Miss Jones with a diamond cutter. She does a stretcher job. That's the end of her. Like, I have no other memories whatsoever of anything that happened in this match.
That's like
All right, there's Ray.
that's like the
Am I
end
wrong?
of her.
I had to go back and catch it here. He did have a beret on. I can confirm that. There's Kim hitting a big powerbomb. There's Ray running down. He is. You know what, Brian?
See?
He looks prepared to do some painting.
I'm telling you.
He's wearing khaki not like overalls, but khaki pants and jacket. He has a beret.
Looks like a smock, maybe.
Does he have a pencil-thin mustache?
I can't see that.
Okay.
It's too far away.
He has eye protection though.
Okay.
Yes.
He's wearing tan shoes.
Yes.
This is an outfit meant to be spilled on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Well, you may as well talk about Rick Steiner, Lash LaRue.
Oh boy, can I?
You've been here all night.
So, as I noted, it's been 20 years, and vividly, I could picture the opening to this match in my head 2 decades later. So Lash LaRue comes out. He's just being all wacky and being Lash. And then Rick Steiner comes out showing zero emotion or excitement. He is there simply to do a job. He's punching a clock. And
That was it.
And Lash.
and Lash's face was the
Right.
clock. So he steps into the ring. His music is playing. He holds up his U.S. belt. He's trying to be a star a little bit. He calmly removes his jacket. He calmly removes his sunglasses. As he is doing this, Lash vaults into the ring and does that big gimmick where he points at his sideburns and cackles.
Yes.
And Steiner calmly removes his shirt. And in one motion, he walks over the way you would walk over to answer the telephone or open a mailbox or whatever. He walks over, cool as a cucumber, and punches this man right in the face. And Lash goes down, his arms go flying, and Steiner begins to knee him. Now, I remembered that detail vividly, and I watched it charitably 50 times in a row. What I forgot was how great everything else after this spot is.
Yes.
He punches him, he knees him, he clotheslines him, he slams him, he suplexes, he throws him in his shit, he throws him into fans, clotheslines his head off, suplexes him some more, knees him some more, punches him. Lash's entire offense in this match was Steiner whips him into the corner, he charges, Lash gets a boot up, then Lash charges at him, but Steiner just clotheslines his head off.
Yes.
Scott Hudson's out there claiming he's killing this kid.
Well,
Steiner begins to hit multiple DVDs, keeps pretending to pin him, then picking him up, and finally slaps him in the face, hits a third DVD, and pins him. 5 stars, Brian.
Oh, yeah?
A 5-star squash match.
All right, maybe I'll go back to watch it.
You missed Steiner kicking him in the ribs like he is a dog that did something wrong.
I did see him trying to tear his face off.
There was a lot of that.
That's pretty violent.
This was Rick Steiner being offended that Lashley dared to step into the ring with him.
Why are you breathing my air?
And, yeah. And punishing him.
Yes.
Why are you on my roster? Why are you on my show? And teaching him the error of his ways and hoping Lash will correct those mistakes by not showing up on the show ever again.
What I did think was funny
loved
was
this.
After the match, Lash is being worked on backstage, and there's like a doctor.
Yes.
I could not figure out what this doctor was trying to do.
Nope.
He's next to Lash, and Lash on the table is going, ah! And the doctor's just like standing there putting his hands on him like he's trying to use magic.
You know, like when the doctor says, does this hurt? And of course it hurts.
But he didn't say anything. He's just touching him all over.
Right. But he noted when he pushed him there, Lash would wail.
When he pushed him anywhere.
So they pushed him in the exact same spot, and then he pushed him in the same spot but harder.
You know, Lash LaRue is from Louisiana. Maybe this is a voodoo doctor.
All I know is...
I have thought of that, Craig.
I'll have to watch it again. I do know that Tony Schiavone, when calling this match, did in fact use the words, beat the man half to death. That's what he said.
Well,
I'm going to watch this again when I get home.
Oh, my God.
Scott Steiner, the lesser of the 2 Steiners this week, gives Kanyon a pep talk. He says, these are the same knucks that bloodied Kevin Nash if you need him. His orders are play with his mind, hurt his body, break him down. So Hugh Morris does a promo on Rick Steiner. The only notable thing about this is I think he was looking right into the camera, but it wasn't the camera that was on him. Like if he's cutting a promo this way, like he's staring who the hell? Oh, Lance. Like he's staring Lance in the eye. You faced General Erection. You haven't faced Hugh Morris. The whole promo that way.
It sucked.
So it's Lance Storm and Hugh Morris. Lance notes, whether it's Hugh Morris, General Erection, or Bill DeMott, I've beat you before. I'll beat you again.
Bill DeMott.
They had never called him that on camera.
I was going to say, did they ever use that name from ever?
I don't think so.
Wow.
So the highlight of this match is the bell rings and they do a little bit of stuff, and about 20 seconds in, you hear the ref give them the time of the finish. In case you didn't know what the finish was going to be on Hugh Morris's big return, they had a fun match. Hugh Morris is a very good athlete. Mm-hmm. Lance Storm is a very good worker who knows what to do with a very good athlete. Hugh survives the Maple Leaf, comes back and catches him with a power slam, does a big moonsault for the win. This was a success.
Yeah, too bad.
Speaking of bad,
we see clips of somebody walking in a Dusty Rhodes costume. It's Jeff Jarrett. He comes out to do the Dusty Rhodes impression segment. It gets old in 10 seconds. Just goes forever. He's repeating himself. It's not funny. He then brings some geeks out for an exhibition where they all sell for his bionic elbow. Now, I will say, when he dropped the big elbow but then could not get back up, he was like a turtle on his back. I did laugh at that one. Eventually, Dustin attacks him, but Rick Steiner attacks Dustin. They hit Dustin with a guitar, and that's the end.
I will say, I actually have something to say about this. So, the fans are dead, and the promo's lame, and him hitting all these geeks is like, what's the point of all of this? Like, are you feeding with Dusty or Dustin, or what's going on here? And then, like, I was really watching it, and I will give Jarrett credit that I've seen a lot of guys do Dusty impersonations, and he actually was really good at it. As far as like an impersonator of Dusty goes, he was up there pretty high. He had the crotch grab and the ass shaking.
A lot of ass shaking.
And the jiggling. I mean, he had it down pretty good. But it wasn't until I watched it that I realized how fucking hard it was to be Dusty Rhodes. You know what I'm saying? When you watch Dusty, it's like he doesn't do anything. But then when I see this guy try to be Dusty, I realize how talented Dusty actually was at doing nothing.
Yes.
That's what I got out of this.
That's a great lesson learned, actually.
That's what I got out of this.
So, on the subject of eerie coincidences 19 years apart,
right.
This show was February 19th, 2001, one day after the passing of Dale Earnhardt, who was tragically killed in a car wreck in the final lap of the Daytona 500. Skip ahead 19 years, Ryan Newman is in a terrible car wreck on the final lap of the Daytona 500. Although thankfully, very thankfully, he's alive and awake and speaking with family and doctors. But God, when I saw that, the number was I watched Nitro first, and there's a big 3 sign in the crowd. And I was like, oh, that's eerie. Canyon versus DDP. Page kicks out of the cutter. Page kicks out of the loaded book shot, which actually caught the book was loaded with a brick.
Yeah.
So good for them for explaining that. He goes to the Nux, but Page evades it, hits a diamond cutter for the win. A perfectly acceptable TV main event. And the bad guys come out to chase him away, but he flees, and he's just too smart for them. And his music's playing. All is right with the world.
You know the problem with this show is? This WCW Nitro.
Here with now 5 weeks to go.
Yes. Yeah. Problem is they have this idea. And that is we're going to get rid of all of the top baby faces.
Yes.
And then after greed, we're going to shoot an angle where the new owners show up and they bring them all back.
Right.
Okay. So first off, like, a lot of the baby faces did get screwed, but when you really think about it, like, the plan is to just say fuck you to every stipulation that we've done over the past 5 months, and these guys all get a get out of jail free.
Well, that's one problem. The other problem is you've taken all your big stars.
That's my point. That's the main point.
Yeah.
There's no Goldberg on this show. Do you remember when this show was like fucking absolutely wretched, but there'd be one Goldberg segment and it was like the hottest thing you ever saw?
Yes.
Goldberg's gone. Like, they've gotten rid of every top baby face. I don't even know who else it is because I'm just so bored by this show.
Their plan was to sabotage their own show.
Yeah, they have.
And it's worked.
Now I watch this show and it's like, it's not a bad show, but every single segment that's not horrible, the best I can say is it was there.
Yeah.
Main event, Canyon DDP, it was there. Jeff Jarrett thing, it was there. Lance and Hugh Morris, like, it was there. It's just a show.
It was, in fact, just a show.
I can't take it.
5 episodes to go, Brian.
All right, you ready for
10
this
hours.
music?
Oh, God, I closed my notes.
10 hours?
Yeah.
Oh. I never looked at it that way. All right, here we go.
All right. The finishes on this show were pin after interference, DQ due to interference, pin after interference by the good guys, pin after interference, clean pin, and pin despite weapon shock.
There you go.